Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This morning we're going to do an install of the Thinkware M1 Motorsports cam. We're going to put it on the Honda CRF250L, which most motorcycles will be basically the same thing. They're a different layout on different bikes, but it'll still be similar because it's a motorcycle. So let me show you all the stuff we got here and then where we're going to go with it. Okay, you got everything laid out here. Here's the main DVR unit. And also we have the remote that goes up near your handlebars where you can easily access the buttons. We got the ferrites that will go on these cables, and that is to help keep RF out of your video, especially if you have a ECU that's close to the cables, or hopefully that will help. Anything that's making engine noise. You want to route all this stuff away from any spark plugs or the ECU if you can. Stay away from that stuff just to help keep RF interference out. Here we have the two mounts that will mount each camera. We get the rear, front, and then of course it comes with a 32 gig SD card, which is micro SD card, which is really cool because I've never seen one yet that does. And then we've got some Allen wrenches. We'll need one to take the seat off of the Honda CRF250L, and we'll need a couple to use on here. We got some small bolts on here to take out, and then this bolt here to tighten up after we adjust the pivot to make our horizon level on the camera. So let's go ahead and take this apart, stick our camera in here, and go ahead and mount it on the bike for the front. Okay, so pretty much what we're going to do here is just take out these two Allen bolts. It looks like they have already got Loctite on the Allen bolts, so they're ready when you tighten them up. And they also have a small lock washer on them. We're going to take our front camera, and it's labeled, of course, front, and we want to mount it in here. Depending on your application, mine will be mounted in this position on the front, and with this bracket you should be able to slide this forward or backwards to the front or the back, whichever way you want to adjust it where it sits right on your bike. For now, I'm just going to stick this in the middle, see how that works. And you also want to turn this arrow when you get it on the bike where this arrow is up to keep your camera horizon level. So we put it on there like this, squeeze this down, stick our Allen bolts in, and tighten them up. We're going to go ahead and stick this on the bike first, and then we'll clamp this thing in there so we can get it straight and level. Okay, now I've started mounting this. I put this unit under the seat, and I also used Velcro to hold it down. That way I can remove it fairly easy if I need to take the SD card out of the back here. I've got my cables coiled up right here, and then I'll zip tie them. And my fuse is located here. I wanted to show you one thing first. The arrows on this and the arrow on this, you line those up, and what this is a quick coupler style. You can see how that pulls back. So you take and line this arrow here with this arrow and just push it in. It snaps into place. If you take it off, pull this quick coupler back, it comes off. You want to do this at least as many times as possible, so get it hooked up, and you're going to leave it there. And then I'll tuck my cable back in here and tie it down. Okay, the next thing I want to do is where I go to the fuse box here to connect the power. And as you can see right here, I put the ground wire on the ground screw of the battery. And then the positive, I want to connect to one of the fuses that's off when the ignition's turned off and on when the ignition's turned on, which should be the one that says 10 amp turn horn stop on the CRF250L. Some bikes will be different, but most time it's going to be your turn one. Your turn signal fuse will be the right one. So I want to pull this fuse here out. Take my wire right here. You can use a tap. They make a fuse tap thing. There's not much room in this box to use that style. Or you could tap into the wire. But I'm going to put this wire around the fuse. Around the fuse leg. like that. I got it snug around the fuse leg. When I plug it back in, it should tighten up and make a good solid connection, like so. Then I can route my wires up here out of the fuse box and out of the way. It's a pretty small wire, so it should be easy to do. And put it under here and lock my fuse panel back down. Then I'll route my wires back up to the main unit up here. Okay, now I got the unit totally mounted, zip tied down, got my wires tied up, my fuse holders right here. Mounted the unit here, like I said, with Velcro, so I can remove it to be able to take the SD card out if I need to, or upgrade to a bigger one than the 32 gigabyte. And then, as you can see down here, got my ground wire ran, my wires tied up. My wires for my cameras, for my camera runs up here. This is the front camera, and I got a ferrite here and one up toward the front. I just located them, one toward the front, one toward the rear. Hopefully it'll be to keep interference out from the spark plug wire, which one thing you do when you run these wires is run it totally away from the spark plug wire or the ECM to help reduce that interference if there is any, and it may not even do it. And I ran them up, and I followed the factory wiring harness all the way up using the factory ties. Just added it in with them. Back here you can see my rear camera. The wire comes out. I mounted it here. It's not totally back far enough that my license plate will not show up in the camera, but that's about as far back as I get to still be safe and not be in a bad spot. And to mount it solid, you want to make sure your cameras are mounted solid to keep any shake out. Even though this has image stabilization, you still want as solid as you can. Alright, and as I said, coming up the frame, following the factory wiring harness, make sure that you have yourself enough play that you can move your handlebars all the way full lock from left to right, and that it doesn't pinch or bind any wires. Then I came up along with these wires here, followed them up, tied them in the factory ties. And then I got my remote mounted right here, the camera mounted right here. I used this mount and mounted it on here. This is about the best location I could find, is on top of this brake reservoir for the front brakes. And I left the screws exposed so I can still take the cap off with this. Even though you don't do it very often, you don't change the brake fluid that often, so you won't be removing it much. But this way I can remove the camera, then remove the cap, and still change my brake fluid. So there, it's all mounted. My arrows are up. We just need to connect the app and try it out. Alright, the next thing you want to do is go to the App Store and download the Thinkware app. You can see mine right here. So you want to download that. You'll also want to go on here, and you're going to connect it to your Wi-Fi. And how you're going to connect it to your Wi-Fi is you'll want to turn your key on to power the unit up. The lights will come on showing that it's working. This small little light right here. It's on blue blinking now. And then we'll want to connect this by pushing the Wi-Fi button. Should go to green, which it is. It's pretty dim light. Probably won't be so dim at night. Now that it's connected, we go back to our phone. Okay, right here, you come up with Thinkware A2, so we want to click on that. And when you do it the first time, you're going to enter your password, which is 1 through 9 is the default password. So now we're connected to the Wi-Fi of the Thinkware. Now we'll go back into the app. One thing to note is that to connect to the Wi-Fi, you will have to have it all connected, and you will have to have your SD card installed. Without the SD card installed, this thing would not connect to the Wi-Fi because it comes up with an error that the SD card is not installed. So install your SD card, connect everything, then connect your Wi-Fi, then you'll come in here and connect it. Now we're already connected now, so we just connect the live view, and it's going to show us our front and rear cameras. Right now we're connected to the front camera. You can actually see me on here because the camera of the bike is aiming over this way. If we click on this R on the top right here, this will switch us to the rear camera. Right there's the rear camera, and you can see that my license plate is in the video just a little bit, but not bad. So go back to the front, back on the front camera. This is telling you to align the green line with your front edge of your hood, align the blue line with the center of your hood, but that's actually, I think the app is also used to work on cars. Okay, and right here you can actually turn those grids off so don't show that on your camera, which we don't want it. If you'll notice down here it shows the miles per hour, which it will keep that track of by GPS, our speed, and it will show the voltage, 12.4 volts, and the date and time. And we go into Dashcam settings right here. In the settings we have the memory card settings, which is continuous priority. That means it's going to be looping the recording, which is what we want. If you want to format your SD card, which you always should first, format it right here. Go back, here's the camera settings. We can set the front brightness and the brightness of the rear. They're both on mid, so I'll leave them there for now. We can rotate the front camera and the rear camera. We don't need that. On rotate, go into the record settings. Super night vision, I have that enabled, and image stabilization, I have that enabled. You can turn it off if you don't want those, but I think you will. And then system settings right here. Daylight savings, speed unit, you set it on miles per hour, or you can set the speed stamp enabled. If you don't want the speed stamp where people can see your speed on the video, you can actually disable that. It won't show it. We're using English, and you set your time zone right here. If you want to go to default settings, you push this little button at the top. Alright, in the app here I also want to show you this button here, file list. You click on that and that will take you to your files. You go to continuous, and this is all the videos that it's been recording since it's been on. And if you scroll down any of them, you can click, so you can see front or rear. Choose whether you want the front or rear at the certain time, and click on this, and we can download the video or look at the video info or delete the video. If we take and click download the video, copy one video file to your internal memory, and that will copy it to the memory on this app. And then what you do then is you can go back, go to downloaded videos, and click on it here. You can either watch the video or you can export it, and what that's going to do is export the files to album, so it's going to save it to your camera roll on your phone, which is really nice. And we'll go back here, back into here, and you can select a video from the list here. We'll do the front here, and you can see, you can even hear the sound. You can hear my fuel pump running on the bike, but this is where I was making the video, extremely clear. So we can play, pause, or we can skip to the next video and just go ahead and watch the rest of the videos one at a time to see what we want. In the folders here, this manual recording, this is where your videos is going to be at, to where if you hit the record button on that remote, it will put those videos in here, and they will not be overwritten by the camera as it's doing loop recording. So that's really a good feature. So that's pretty much our settings, other than connection settings, which we are connected. So we'll go back into live view. There shows our camera. Now I need to just take this thing, if we tilt it sideways, we can actually see that's extremely clear video. I'll look over at the camera, but that looks extremely good. So we'll go down the road and make a recording in daylight, then we'll have to do a nighttime one tonight when it gets dark. Okay, now we're going to record going down the road. First we'll turn our key on. Watch the lights right here. Should come on here in a second. It goes blue, red. It's starting up. Now when it goes to flashing or steady blue, that means right now it's recording continuous. Now when it goes to flashing blue, that means it's recording manual. So when I hit this, we're recording now and it's flashing, you can see, but it's recording manual. So now we'll go down the road and record the video front and rear and see what it looks like, and then I'll also put a nighttime on the end of this. Okay guys, that was the install of the Thinkware M1. See it mounted up there on the bike. And hope you liked the video. I'm going to put the link to where you can purchase this thing on Amazon, which is about the lowest price you're going to get. Thank you all for watching. Please click the thumbs up if you like the video. Subscribe to my channel for more videos and more Thinkware videos. The cool part is, you know how when you're using your helmet and your GoPro or whatever camera you have on your helmet and your battery's always running dead, you don't have this problem with it connected to the motorcycle itself. So you've always got a recording, and if you ain't gonna miss something. Like I do moto vlogging, and sure enough, every time something happens, I don't have the camera turned on or my battery's dead. With this thing, the recording will always be on front and rear with this camera setup, so it should be pretty good. Thank you all for watching. Right on.